Stéphane Dion. Anybody else? Anybody else surprised to find out he's still alive? I was. They've really dusted off the antiques for Project Fear, haven't they? So Stéphane Dion is railing against Alberta and Danielle Smith over separation. And then somebody asked him about Quebec, and he's like, "What do you? That's different. What's different? That's sophisticated and cultural." God, he looks like the gecko, doesn't he? Anyway.
Are you surprised to see this growing separatist movement in Alberta?
But for the reason I mentioned just before, Alberta is the place in the world where the regional government has the more power on natural resources and the more natural resources per capita. And then you come with these policies that we need to do in order to decrease our greenhouse gas emissions to save the planet burning, and Alberta forest burning, by the way. And this is a shock and a difficulty. I think this difficulty should be solved within Canada without putting the existence of our country on the table. It's a mistake to go towards separation. But of course, there is tensions about what is the proper eco-climatic policies that we should apply in the case of Alberta.
The Alberta separatist movement, I'm sure you've seen this, has been speaking to American officials in some capacity, even talking about getting access to money, a credit line from the U.S. What do you make of Americans being involved in that conversation, Stéphane Dion?
I think it's completely irresponsible to have done, because we know that President Trump is somebody very difficult to predict what he will do, but he has clearly expressed his view about annexation of territories in order to get the resource of these territories. We need to remember that in Canada is almost alone around the world where the control of natural resources is in the hands of the provinces, of the regional entities, and not the central government or the federal government.
But we
in
can't
the US,
move them.
Natural resources are federal. That means that if you invite Trump in Alberta, and maybe to take control of Alberta, that means that Albertans, 5 million people, will have to share the dividends of their natural resources with 240 million Americans.
What is equalization, Stéphane?
But completely bad for Albertans. And it should be said. Nobody's saying that, so I'm saying so. It's completely irresponsible to have done that from the point of view of Albertans and, of course, of all Canadians.
You know, of course, you're from Quebec, obviously, and in your home province, the Parti Québécois has seen a great amount of success in the polls. There'll be an election in the fall. They say if they're reelected, they will also hold a referendum. What do you make of that reality, that it could be happening in two places in the same time?
Or maybe three. There's a petition in Saskatchewan as well. I think it's foolish. If you see the other countries, they have the same disagreements. And it's tough to find solutions, a lot of difficulties, but these other countries, they don't put the existence of the country on the table each time they have a disagreement, only in Canada. And what Canada has done to be considered this way, it's one of the most admired country in the world. I was in Europe in the last 8 years. Everybody is in love with Canada. You have more than 1 billion people on this planet dreaming
They don't
to
have to
become
live
Canadian.
here.
So why are we in Canada always talking about the possibility to split our country? It's a shame.
There's one seat left in the movie theater. It's in the front row. You have a bad neck. This is what we call a last resort. If your most recent electricity bill says the rate of last resort, then your rate is like the front row seat in the movie theater. It will serve its purpose, but there are likely better options available.
I need your guidance here. You see, I have a hard time understanding simpletons. Is Dion saying that Alberta, going back to his original remarks, needs to remain in the Dominion of Canada so that the federal government can put the dampers on your province developing its oil and gas sector? Because what did he say? That we don't want the planet to burn, the country to burn.
Right.
Hey, that's That's his opening line. That's his position.
You know what? I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate the honesty from these federalist goons when they say, Alberta, you have to stay so that we can make sure you don't develop your own resources. That's what he's saying. So we can make sure you don't become wealthy. And by the way, you're responsible for the forest fires that started in Jasper under federal management, where they didn't clear the fuel load from the forest because it might have been too unsightly for the tourists. He also goes on to say that natural resources are the province's jurisdiction. Yes, they are, brother, but here's the problem. You guys won't let us export them and you won't let us develop them because you've put production caps on everything. So you won't stay in your lane. And then he says, what do you want to do? You want Trump to come in and be in control of you? No, we just want to have a good relationship with them. We want to say, we're making the oil, we're digging the coal. Would you like some, friends? Because now you don't have to go through the federal government anymore. That's all that we're doing. By the way, Quebec was talking to France the whole time. Every time they have a kerfuffle over in Quebec about they're going to leave, and they do their, as I said the other day on the show, their crazy ex-girlfriend thing where they're like, if you're going to leave me, I'm going to kill myself. Give me more money. They talk to France all the time about recognition of a free state of Quebec. Why can't we do the same? Why are we treated differently? This stuff is exactly why we want to leave. Trot out Stéphane Dion and his stupid dog Kyoto more.
I'm glad you brought that up, Sheila, because you're absolutely right. In the referendums in Quebec separation, 1980, 1995, there were delegations going from the Quebec government to France to talk about this. So how is it that he can possibly have an issue with Albertans going to the White House? Because Alberta, even though you're going to separate or might separate, you're still going to border the United States. That's going to be your biggest trading partner, right? So of course you'd have those discussions. What's his problem?
If Quebec is allowed to talk to its cultural patrilineage on the interest of independence, why aren't we? Mm-hmm. You know, we are culturally aligned with the Americans. We're strategically aligned with the Americans, economically aligned with the Americans. Why wouldn't we talk to them? Because we're Albertans and we're supposed to sit down, shut up, and take it. And that's the whole point of the separatist movement, is that we're not doing that anymore. We're not listening to the Stéphane Dions of the world. Can you imagine trotting out Stéphane Dion onto CBC to lecture Albertans about why we should shut up and stay?